Good evening, students. We have already seen the blood constituents, okay, that is the blood corpuscles or blood cells which are suspended within the blood plasma. But there is a very important constituent or the corpuscle of blood, that is platelets, which play a very important role in clotting of blood. Imagine the condition when you get a cut, either a superficial or a deep cut anywhere in your body. Okay, immediately excess of blood is not lost under normal condition, or even if the blood is lost, okay, that particular region becomes harder and later on the skin is replaced. What is happening? Why is it so? How is the blood clotting? And even if the blood is clotting, why the blood is not clotting within the blood vessel? Okay, there is a particular mechanism in this which we call as a blood clotting mechanism. Okay, now imagine here this particular diagram. Imagine this particular region. Okay, consider this to be the blood vessel. The blood constituents are present within the blood vessel. If you get a particular cut at any region of your body, okay, below that particular skin region, the blood vessels are present. So there is breakage in that particular blood vessel. Now, if there is breakage in that particular blood vessel, immediately what happens? All the platelets will come at the region of break. This is the region of break. If the blood vessels break, this is the region of break. So all the platelets will gather together at particular region where that particular break has occurred. Okay, and they will form a cluster. Alone platelets cannot bring about the clotting mechanism. Okay, so what happens? Already our blood has a particular protein which is called as fibrinogen. So this fibrinogen comes in contact with other chemicals or exposed to other chemicals, and by the action of a particular enzyme called thrombin and exposure to the chemicals present, this fibrinogen gets converted into a sticky substance which is called as fibrin or fibrin. When this particular sticky substance, okay, is formed from fibrinogen by the action of an enzyme called thrombin, okay, when this fibrinogen comes in contact or gets exposed to chemicals, okay, at the region of break of what? The break of blood vessels, because below the surface of the skin the blood vessels also get toned up. Okay, so all the platelets gather at the region of break, the constituents gather at the region of break, the cells gather at the region of break, okay, and fibrinogen, okay, which is a protein which is already present in the blood, that takes its role and gets converted into fibrin by enzymatic action. Which enzyme? Thrombin. Okay, and what happens later? Okay, it forms a cluster. Okay, these platelets together along with this protein, they will form a particular cluster, and this cluster is seen in the form of a scab on the surface of skin. Okay, any hard covering or hard structure which is formed at the region of wound, that is called as a scab. There are other meanings for scab, but here we are not concerned about that. Okay, a scab here means any covering which is formed at the region of the wound when the wound starts healing. And how the healing mechanism takes place, how the clotting mechanism takes place? With the help of platelets. These platelets are devoid of DNA as well as nucleus. Okay, and they are the minute structures which helps in the clotting mechanism so that excess of bleeding does not occur. Okay, and the body don't suffer from any loss of blood. I am talking under normal conditions when the platelets are normal, when the platelets are in the normal number. Okay, so a scab is formed, and this scab means any outer covering, any hard covering which is formed at the region of the wound when the wound starts healing. Now what happens? This scab becomes harder, and that particular scab falls off. And below the scab, what is there? The new skin. Understanding? Okay, so whenever there is a cut, whenever there is any cut, the region of the skin below that particular region, below the skin region, the blood vessels also break. So what happens immediately after that break? What happens? All the platelets along with the blood constituents will gather at the region of break and they will form a cluster over there. Along platelets, okay, what else will come? The fibrinogen, which is already present in the blood. It is a protein. Now this fibrinogen gets exposed, okay, with other chemical constituents at the region of break. So what will happen? It gets converted into a sticky substance which is called as fibrin, okay, by the action of a particular enzyme called thrombin. Okay, and the cluster is formed together. It forms a cluster. Now this cluster gets converted into a hard protective covering which is called as a scab. Okay, and this particular scab is nothing but a protective covering which is formed at the region of the wound when the wound starts healing. We can see that, okay, whenever we get a cut, after few minutes or maybe after a fraction of seconds, okay, we can see there is a hard structure at the region of the cut. If we remove that structure, okay, that gets that falls off, okay, either naturally or we remove that, and below that we can see a new layer of skin which is formed. Okay, now this particular clotting mechanism does not occur in the region or in a normal blood vessel. If all the conditions are normal inside the blood vessel, this clotting does not occur. Why? Because fibrin is only formed when the fibrinogen gets exposed to the chemical constituents at the region of break. So when there is no break, there is no clotting mechanism. Okay, so this is how the platelets help in clotting of blood at the region of break to prevent excess of blood loss or to prevent any kind of leakage, bleeding, etc. Thank you.